It's August 3rd. Yeah. Sink the planet. This is where the rubber meets the road, boys and girls. I have to whisper because everyone else in the world is asleep, including my dogs. And I am not. Okay, we got a bit of an issue with this year's Sink the Planet. Say hi, Neil. Hey, Neil. Yeah, the bike, sort of like the main part of the whole ride. A bit of a problem. Yeah, it's a little discombobulated, a little hurting unit. So this year we kind of have to improvise a little bit, but it's okay. Totally under control, within reason. Heading down the road to Chris's house. Chris has been kind enough to offer me his DRZ for the evening. It's not even the evening, for the morning. Ugh. And we're gonna go for a small group ride. And I've not ridden a DRZ before, so it's sort of two birds, one stone. I gotta kill this light. It'll attract the attention of individuals who I don't want to attract the attention of. So, here we go. Onto the highway. This is one of the most completely awesome benefits of riding at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is there's no one on the road. Except for, of course, that guy that is now coming up behind me. And percentage-wise, it's either a cop or a drunk guy. But, hey, there's not that many people on the road. Wow, that was the fastest light onto Mackenzie ever. Oh, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Perhaps that's why. Okay, we've arrived at Chris's place at 1582 Walla Walla Avenue. So we're gonna have to be kind of like secret squirrel action here, because everybody's still asleep. So let's be quiet.
Parking recording will now start.
I said be quiet.
I don't think it is. I think it's going to be picked up by other groups. They'll just take it and run with it, which is fine. Maybe it'll just become like a virus and just take off on its own.
We will always remember 2018.
Oh yes, as will Oak Bay. It sounds like a freight train. And they just keep coming. red light goes on. 1 minute. And just like that, Sink the Planet 2019 begins. You know, normally I let this be a full-on just run it video, but today I think I'm gonna do an edit. I'll chop her up. So tonight I'm riding Chris's DRZ. Chris is my right o'clock there. My right o'clock right in front of me, riding the BMW. And you'll notice that our numbers are quite a bit smaller than last year. And that's because we didn't advertise and push like we did last year. We kind of said, yeah, everybody kind of do their own thing. We had over 100 bikes last year, and we took a little bit of flack from a couple people who weren't happy. Yeah, we had a couple boneheads in the group that just didn't know how to ride easy. And, you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. If you're riding a V-twin with pipes, you know, maybe just kind of ease into the throttle and don't do burnouts and Tim Hortons. Stuff like that. Let's start this vlog off. First of all and foremost, I want to send a huge shout out to our man Doc from Doc Man Rides. Doc is the father of the Sink the Planet ride. This is year 6, I believe, right? Last year was 5 years. That was our big anniversary. 7 years ago, I guess it was, Doc had this idea of doing a sink ride with me, where we both rode at the same time, and I think it was like 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and then we, you know, it was a sink ride, so we both rode at the same time. And then he said, let's just, you know, I feel like we should do this on a broader scale, a larger scale, and that's where Sink the Planet came from. And it started off with himself and myself and a couple other riders sprinkled around the world. Maybe 10, I can't even remember, maybe 20 riders around the world. The next year it went up, and then here in Victoria last year we were over 100 riders. And I think Switzerland was the only place that came close to those numbers. So Doc man, great man to inspire others to do things. And I feel privileged to have been able to take part. Hey, we're at the top of Bear Mountain in case you're not a local, which most of you aren't. Here's the only tunnel we have to go through on this ride. It's the only tunnel we really have in Victoria, if you want to call that a tunnel. So thanks, Doc. You know, go over to his channel and let him know how much you appreciate him. If any of you watch Daily Driven Exotics, which I'm pretty sure you do, because if you like motorcycles, you probably like exotic cars. Damon, Victoria is where he's from. You probably figured that out watching his videos. And this corner down here, several years ago before Daily Driven Exotics was big, I don't know if it was Damon or somebody else, but there's a Ferrari, I want to say it was a 308, like the old Magnum PI. It crashed into this this guardrail here, and I think it went over the side. So if I ever meet him or Dave, I want to ask him, hey, about that Ferrari, wasn't it, you guys? So if anybody you know out there knows him, I'd be interested to know. My wife and I walked, I think we walked by it after it happened. Nobody was hurt, I believe. Okay, we're moving on to the part of the show where things get to be the darkest. We're heading out on Millstream. So things will be a little bit dark. Actually, not a little bit dark. It'll just be dark. I'm going to touch on the topic today, which is inspiration, which is a very fitting topic, considering this whole thing evolved from one man's inspiration to improve the world, especially specifically with the riders of the world. And inspiration is one of those things that I feel like I've just been deficient in. You know, and this is my, I mean, mostly my, no, not mostly, it is my issue. That I've just struggled with coming up with that inspirational juice that is necessary to produce content, and content worth watching. That's another video, because it'll be long and there'll be a lot of edits, and it's probably better to have daylight for that discussion, because then it'll give you at least something to look at while I'm spilling my guts all over the floor. Obviously, the YouTube community has always been a source of inspiration for me, whether it be motorcycles or other content creators that are in other sort of genres. Kalani was probably my first one to he was actually the first one. He inspired me to start this this whole thing, and then from there I discovered more and more riders. You know, I found Tyler, Mr. Everride. Of course, there's Nest Up Productions down there in Oregon, and my man Neil, who is a British man from England. And then we've got people, of course, Mr. Duff Actor, who I'm in contact with quite a bit. Again, I'm gonna forget people's names, but these are individuals that have had a great influence on me and have made it easy to sit down and watch videos and then just be like, yeah, I've got a, you know, this gives me an idea. This is filling a little hole in my soul. So a shout out and a thank you to those individuals, and there's more of them. I really do enjoy other channels on YouTube, and one of them is Jack Black, and I'm probably confident that some of you are watching him. Jables, fellow Jables, health tip. You know what I'm talking about. Always look forward to his Friday video, which did not come up last night, and last week's was late. So Jack, if you're watching my channel, like I know that you are, let's get with it, man. You're an actor. You can hire people to do that stuff for you and keep things on time. So let's get with it. So those are some things that inspire me on the YouTube side of things, but there's more specific things I think that inspire me to a greater degree. Obviously, my wife is a huge inspiration in my life, and she's not in my videos for a reason. She doesn't care about them. No, she cares about them as in she's glad that I do something that I enjoy, but she doesn't feel like she needs to be a part of it. She just, oh yeah, you go do your thing, and she encourages me, and she supports me, and gives me the go-ahead to do what I do. Of course, my children, I have 3 boys. They are definitely an inspiration to me. And you know, if you're not a dad, you might think that sounds kind of cliche, but I've got really talented and good boys. I shouldn't call them boys. My youngest is 19, and just super skilled, way better than I ever was at their age, and that's awesome as a dad, because that was the number one thing when I had my first son, hanging on to him in the hospital, and I was just like, I just want him to be better than me in all things. And that's something that I have not been disappointed with. I mean, we're all obviously going to make mistakes and make bad calls, but it's been good as a father to watch your boys grow up and just be able to nod your head and go, yeah, they did it. They listened to what I had to say, and they made choices and modified things to work with their circumstances. One last thing that inspires me, and that is I have really good friends. I mean, people that I interact with, people that I go out with, people that do things for me and I do things for. How you know they're actually good friends is that despite your differences, they accept you and allow you to be who you are, and they also feel comfortable expressing their opinion about things. I'm gonna officially end the vlog right there before I run out of camera or whatever, but let me tell you, I appreciate you. I'm glad that you're riding with me today. Glad that we have these guys to ride with. It's a once-a-year ride, and just so you know, Doc's calling it on the ride, calling this the last. I have a very strong feeling that that people will still keep this ride alive. So thanks for riding with me, folks. I sure appreciate having you along. And like I say, I'm gearing up to do a bit of a reboot here, and I look forward to riding with you again. Talk to you later.